The story begins with our main protagonist called Tanaka-kan laying under a tree. His best friend is pretty much his caretaker Kalduta. He asks what Tanaka is doing out here, to which he bleakly says the weather has a nice cool breeze today and the birds are chirping with their cute voices. I think the people of the modern generation are forgetting the wonders that nature offers. Don't you think it's a waste to not feel it with your entire body like this? Buddha just stares at him. The following day, Buddha has to carry Tanaka into class. One of their classmates called Kato thanks Uda for picking up Tanaka while placing him at his seat. A few moments later, Tanaka wakes up confused how he's back at his desk, but quietly says thanks again. Yuta, another one of their classmates called Shimura, asks why he doesn't use his own two legs for once, but another guy says he can't help it, it's just Tanaka. At the end of class, Uda pokes Tanaka on the arm and he shakes vigorously. It turns out, when he sleeps with his head on the desk, his arms fall asleep and he can't move them. In the next period, Tanaka finishes his worksheet super fast so he can doze off, but complains that since he moved his desk, people are blocking the breeze. Buddha thought Tanaka could drift off anywhere, but today he can't relax for some reason. He wonders if it's because he's not in his usual place, and maybe the little differences seem bigger. The guilt of knowing how lazy he is begins getting to him as students in the other classes are studying hard. He wants to savor that feeling. A classmate asks Suda if he can copy his notes, so he excuses himself. Meanwhile, the students who were blocking the breeze move and Tanaka sees this as a golden opportunity to do some dosing. However, he ends up falling off his chair. The next period is P and Yuta's surprise. Tanaka is actually willing to participate. He says he wants to build his physical strength so his limbs won't fall asleep or get hurt. No matter how lazy he is, his goal is to work his body hard so that he can slack off worry-free. Yudia thinks that's a tad contradictory but sees his point. Today they play badminton but start off with some basic stretches, but to no one's surprise, Tanaka is already struggling. The teacher warns him not to take breaks during warm-up exercises. When it's time for badminton, Tanaka and Uda face Kato and Mira, who are confident they will win, but one of them remarks how Uda is visually intimidating. On the first serve, Tanaka goes to hit the shuttle back but ends up launching the bat at his classmates who scold him for it, so he takes a break. Two girls called Kitchen and Shirashi comments saying it looks like the boys are having fun. On the other hand, Noodle wins the badminton match even though it's 1-against-2, and Tanaka wonders if Yuta's performance will automatically count towards his grade since they're on the same team, even though he's been resting since Tanaka quote-unquote worked so hard he's hungrier than usual. Buddha says you call that working hard? After getting their lunch, they eat on the field where Uda says you shouldn't make a habit of resting your chin on your hand as it can lead to joint disorders. Developing physical strength is fine, but he should fix his bad habits first. Suddenly, Tanaka begins bleeding out of his mouth. Anuta becomes very worried. However, he reveals that a piece of French bread stabbed the inside of his mouth, and after all he wasn't really hungry, so Uda eats the rest for him. After school, Tanaka articulates that instead of getting rid of numbness and pain, maybe coexisting with them is the true answer. Also that having an unwavering mind and the ability not to care is what's important, not physical strength. While passing a bookstore, Tanaka sees something that catches his eye in the story known as Life. Everyone can become a main character. However, Tanaka says he doesn't even want to be the main character in his own life as it sounds exhausting. While walking in the park, a boy goes up to Uda and asks him to get his ball that got stuck in a tree, and being the kind guy he is, Uda gets it for him, gaining the attention of some girls passing by. Tanaka takes note of this. The next day at school, Buddha notices Tanaka is double listless today. His classmate asks him to help carry some worksheets to the faculty room, but he even needs Uda to help him with that. At lunch, Tanaka doesn't seem to want anything to eat. Buddha offers him some of his food as he's worried. Tanaka's listlessness is worse from lack of appetite. In music class, Tanaka plays the piano, which surprises his classmates, and Uda tells them he used to take lessons as a kid. After a beautiful choir song, Tanaka rests on the piano, but when a girl goes to see if he's okay, he makes a loud screech, startling the whole class. Uda chats with Kato and Shimura regarding Tanaka's listlessness today. Shimura theorizes that his lack of appetite coupled with his absent-mindedness and inexplicable behavior like that sudden screech means love is the issue. Who defines Tanaka alone in a classroom and offers to go get ice cream to make him feel better. However, he declines, so Uda just drags him anyway, making all his stuff fall out of his pocket. Buddha notices he has about 15 different reminders telling him to go to the dentist. At this moment, Buddha realizes the reason he's been double listless is because of a toothache, not love, so without hesitating he carries Tanaka to the dentist. After getting an anesthetic at the dentist, Uda asks if Tanaka is in love with anyone, but he says no. Tanaka then promises himself he'll have teeth so healthy they won't lose to cavity-causing bacteria. Buddha sees how Tanaka will go to great lengths to be listless, and that his passion for it is real. Tanaka ends up falling asleep on The bench and Duda carries him home. We then see a mysterious girl who'd been spying on them the following day. Tanaka and Uda are approached by the girl who was spying on them yesterday. She begs Tanaka to make her his apprentice, much to their surprise as none of them know her. She introduces herself as Miyano and tells Tanakashi's classmate. Miyano reveals she wants to become a mature woman by attaining Tanaka's level of listlessness. Begging him to teach her, Tanaka asks her to please leave as he doesn't take apprentices and doesn't want new developments in his life. However, Miyano is still overly keen to be Tanaka's friend, so he says just for today, as turning her down would probably take more effort. In class, Miyano observes Tanaka's body language and eyes, but when she copies him it goes all wrong and the teacher asks what's wrong with her, to which she becomes frustrated and cries out, "I failed." After class, Uda shows Tanaki his half-price donut coupon, which is valid for 3 people as Miyano's close. By listening, Buddha asks her if she wants to go with them after school. She tries her best not to show her excitement, but it doesn't go too well. Anuta then carries Tanaka to the cafeteria. As his stomach is loudly rumbling, he knows he's too lazy to walk himself. After lunch, Tanaka gets a green tea from the vending machine. The piano pops out from around the corner and Nuda asks if she'd like to buy something as he can press the button for her. If she can't reach, she accepts and says, "I'll have a green tea," even though strawberry milk is her favorite. Buddha goes for a strawberry milk, which gobsmacks Miyano, who is trying to be all grown up. As she starts crying, Buddha gives his strawberry milk to Tanaka, who drinks it to show Miyano he likes it too. Still upset with herself, Miyano runs off to the library where she finds a book called The Secret to Listlessness. She studies hard and comes back later to Tanaka with a research report on listlessness. Tanaka nonchalantly says, "I don't get it," sending Miyano into a state of despair. Buddha tells Tanaka not to brush her off so harshly, but he goes on and explains to Miyano that being listless may not be for her and thinks her hardworking nature is why it isn't working out. However, this is what he thinks is so great about her, so there's no need to go out of her way to be like him. Miyano then reveals there's someone she likes and wants to be the perfect girl for. Then Tanaka tells her that if this person accepts you for who you are, then it doesn't matter if you're perfect or not, and that they'd probably prefer the way she is now. Miyano becomes happy again after hearing his kind words and takes his advice. Then they all go for donuts as planned. The next day, Buddha finds Tanaka as he wants to show him something. It turns out Miyano has mastered the art of listlessness, confusing them both. As yesterday she seemed to take their advice, Buddha thinks maybe she was rejected by the person she likes, so Tanaka says in any case maybe it's better to leave her be. Later, Tanaka and Uda spy on Miyano. Azuta planted a strawberry milk to see if she would drink it, however she walks off without taking a single sip, and the two determined that she's no longer the Miyano they once knew. A little while later, Buddha says if Miyano changed because she wanted to, we can't do anything. It's kind of sad, but we should just be happy for her while following Miyano. Tanaka stops her from walking into fresh paint, and all of a sudden she has a eureka moment. Miyano explains that so many mascots are beginning to appear on TV that she thought they were androids and no one's actually in them. Thus, in her wild imagination, the android mascots would become conscious and start revolting against humanity. She became so scared that she couldn't sleep at night and thought she was the only one who could save the earth. However, after thinking for some time, she knows it's probably someone short like her in the suit. Buddha is dumbfounded how her whole personality changed because of this ridiculous fantasy, but nevertheless they're glad she's back to her usual self. The following morning, Tanaka finds a note on his shoe locker which reads "Letter of Challenge," and as it turns out it's from a girl called Atchison who wants to fight him. She is shocked after realizing that Uda is with him, as they used to be in the same gang. Buddha reveals that Etchison is his next-door neighbor and they've known each other since kindergarten. Tanaka asks such as in why she wants to fight him, to which she replies, "I need to find out what kind of person you are." Tanaka says it won't be much of a fight as he's confident he'd lose, and Uda notes that listlessness even diminishes the opponent's will to fight since Tanaka won't fight Etches, and she suggests a board game, to which he accepts Etches and wins, but still feels like she lost for some reason. A little while later she scolds Tanaka. She thought he was someone remarkable pretending to be listless and that she can't believe her best friend wanted to be like him. Tanaka is confused as ever, but then Miyano appears and it all makes sense as he realizes the two are actually friends. Miyano asks what they were doing up here in Etches and informs her that she was just having a match with Tanaka, but he was so weak it wasn't even a challenge. Miyano jumps to his defense, telling her that he is actually amazing and she doesn't realize Tanaka's true power, causing Etches to demand a rematch. Later in class, Tanaka finds another letter challenge on his desk. Buddha informs him that Etchison isn't the type to give up until she sees things through. A few moments later, we see Miyano very upset with Etches, and as she runs away from her, Tanaka then appears in Etches and grabs him. She explains a few days ago Miyano gave her a homemade cookie, but it was so cute she couldn't eat it, and before she knew it, mold started to grow on it. Miyano found out and got so angry she wouldn't listen to her reason. Tanaka asks why she didn't just take a picture but Etches, and reveals she doesn't have a phone. Meanwhile, who defines a troubled Miyano in a classroom and explains why she's so mad. Buddha agrees that she has the right to be angry as a homemade cookie is never to be waste. System etches and hides behind Tanaka to try and make amends with Miyano, but she's still giving her the cold shoulder. Frustrated etches and asks Tanaka why Miyano wanted to be his apprentice, and he tells her that it's because she likes someone, which stumps her. She's hurt. Miyano wouldn't tell her such a thing. Seeing as their friends, meanwhile Miyano is hiding around the corner eavesdropping. She comes out and says she's seriously angry as she did her best to make the cookie swatches and would like it because she loves her etches, and realizes she was wrong and from now on she'll eat everything Miyano gives her. Tanaka then informs Yuta that all this time matches in was the person she liked. The following day Miyano surprises everyone with some more homemade treats, but this time she didn't make them cute as etches and can't eat cute things etches and has no problem devouring it, but Uda says in his head this is kinda hard to eat since Atchison and Miyano made up. Tanaka assumes this means she doesn't need to be his apprentice anymore, but to his surprise she still wants him to teach her the secrets of listlessness. A few moments later Shirishi trips over and Nuda helps her up. Tanaka asks who she is and Uda says you really have no interest in your classmates. He goes on to explain that she's their class representative. She gets top grades and is very courteous. Also she's rumored to have very devoted bodyguards. Tanaka and Uda help Shirishi collect her papers and take them to the copy room. After Shirishi prints some test papers, Tanaka accidentally presses the button printing another, and after feeling its warmth he figures warm papers would be amazing as a pillow after eating a delicious snack from the kind and bubbly Shirishi. Tanaka gets tired, so Uda takes him home and Shirishi thanks them for helping her today. After they leave we see a completely different side of her. She freezes and then celebrates as she's alone. At last she takes her contacts out that no one knew she had, adjusts her skirt along with her hair and puts her glasses on. We then find out in middle school she never fit in because she was awkward, too serious and unfashionable, so just before high school came around she promised herself to change. Her high school debut was a success as she got everyone's attention, but in truth the contacts hurt her eyes and she felt uncomfortable in a short skirt. She swore she'd have a glamorous student life in high school, but she's not sure how much longer she can keep up this facade. A few moments later Buddha walks back in with Tanaka and sees Shirishi and her true self. He stands there stumped for a moment and then casually collects his bag and leaves like he didn't see anything. On the other hand, Shirishi is freaking out. The next day she's afraid to go into class in case everyone found out about yesterday, but it looks like nobody knows apart from Buddha, who comes strolling along with Tanaka. Uda and Tanaka head into class where Shamira asks how it went with Shirishi yesterday. Meanwhile, she's just outside eavesdropping as she wonders when her true nature will be exposed. However, she only hears good things from Buddha. In science class Tanaka suggests Sue to do something with his long hair to stop it from getting in the chemicals, so he styles it how Shirishi does hers when she's alone. Shirshir thinks they're mocking her. At lunch she spies on them while hanging out with Kato and Shamira. It looks like Uda is about to expose her, but instead he covers for her like the kind gentleman he is. Shirshir is relieved, but later it's evident she knows that it's physically impossible to contain this facade. After walking past Kato and Shimura in the hallway she becomes ecstatic as she can finally be her comfortable self in school without anyone noticing her. However, she celebrates a little too early as she didn't fool Tanaka, who notices it's her. She stops dead in her tracks after Tanaka calls her name and then explains to them that the popular Shirshir you see in class every day is the ideal version of her, which she worked very hard to create. However, she thinks the real her is plain dull and has no friends. Even though it's exhausting, she wanted to shine. Tanaka tells her that she is truly admirable and her real self is 10 times more attractive than him in every way. Buddha says hiding all your efforts from others isn't something everyone can do, and to have more confidence in herself. After their talk, she asks if they could still keep it a secret, to which they have no problem with. The next day Shirishi comes to school wearing her glasses, surprising her classmates. Buddha asks how Tanaka spotted her when she looked so different, and he says a girl can cover up her looks, but she can't hide her chest size. Buddha says you'd better not ever tell her that. Comment for part 2 and don't forget to like and subscribe on your way out. Until next time, take care.